When I first applied to Mattel, I was actually looking for a summer job. I was 17 at the time, just graduating high school. I'd done some games, and I actually had one in publishing at the time. And it just so happened that Mattel was actually looking for college grads. They were recruiting. And they mistook the name of my high school for the name of a college nearby and decided to bring me out to California to interview me. So I came out and went in for the interview and was very surprised that the recruiter, Robin Ekman, looked very puzzled and almost disturbed when she first saw me sitting there waiting. Went into her office, and over the next half hour, a series of people in suits went in and out of her office, always pausing to look at me. After half an hour, she started the interview and explained that they had thought I was graduating from college. But we completed the interview, and I actually went on to meet the hiring manager and then his boss later that day. And a week later, actually got a job offer from them. I guess they created a new category for me called junior programmer. And about a month later, after I'd actually turned 18, I actually started work at Mattel.
Why I went to Mattel? Well, it did take me a long time to get out of college. I think I graduated 9 years after high school. And I finally got a degree in computer science, and I said, well, okay, I sent out my resume. I still have the book, 100 companies that I sent my resume out to. And in this book, it says, on this date, I sent my resume to Mattel. Well, that same week, I had gone to Litton Industries, and I had interviewed there, and, it was very stuffy and very corporate, and it was right in Beverly Hills. So I went there, and it seemed like it was reasonable, and then I went to Mattel, and I was the first person that they had hired someone in HR to hire all of the programmers, Sybil, and I was the very first person that she hired. And I think we, as everyone remembers, we took a little test, or we called it a quiz, because you're not allowed to test employees. And it felt like the atmosphere was good. So it was an easy decision. And I think the pay was enormous. It was at least $23,000. So it's a lot of pizza.
Hey, well, I've heard other people describe it as one of the funnest jobs they've ever had, and I have to concur with that. The people that were there were exciting and fun. The technology we were working on was fun. And I think part of it was that as we encountered lots of adversity towards the end, I think that helped the team pull tightly together. When I was there, I saw the company grow from 30 people to over 2,000 people, and then shrink back down to, before the last layoff, we were down to probably back to 30. And during that time, watching people weather the storm and pull together was pretty exciting.
I really enjoyed Snafu. That was my favorite game. I worked on that by myself. And the only thing I didn't like about it was the name that marketing picked for it. I had no idea what Snafu had to do with it. I originally called it Snakes with a bunch of S's on the end. And all I could see that was similar was it started with SNA and Snafu. But it was a fun game.
Tell at a job fair, and when you came in, they gave you a name tag that was color-coded. So you had it on. It was either programming, or you were a hardware person, or you were in marketing. And so I'm in there, and it's in the Mattel cafeteria. A lot of people mingling around, looking at the video games that they had set up. And this dapper Englishman, his coat and tie, came up to me and said, "Excuse me, I see you have the programming name badge on. Now, are you available for all types of programming, for accounting or for payroll, or are you just here because you think it would be fun to program games?" And I thought about it for a second and decided to tell him the truth, that really I was just there because I thought it would be fun to program games. And he went, very good, please come over here and sit down with me. It turns out this was Gabriel Baum, who was in charge of the Intellivision programming department, and anybody that he asked that question who said that they were available to do accounting or any other programming, he wouldn't talk to them. That's it. He only wanted people who were there to program games. One of the strangest memories I have about Mattel, and it just really kind of showed the way this thing went up and down. was the day they announced we were going to get bonus based on sales, kind of a royalty plan. We were going to get 6 cents. Programmers were going to get 6 cents for each one of the cartridges sold that they programmed. And a group of us went over to the nearby mall for a break that afternoon, and there was an ice cream shop there, and we all got ice cream. We were sitting on the patio, and we were just all going, "This is it. This is it. We're all going to be rich now. This is wonderful." And a Porsche drove by, and one of the people in the group said, I'm going to get me a Porsche." And everybody kind of got wistful, kind of going, "Oh yeah, now we're just going to be able to, we're going to be rich. We're going to be able to buy whatever we want, and it's just, it's not going to be that struggle anymore." And it was almost like we were sad that we were just going to have so much money and everything that's like, oh, that's it. All the hard times are past us, and oh, is it going to be as much fun when you're just going to be able to buy whatever you want? And of course, 6 months later, we were all out of work. The funny thing about hearing people talk about Mattel now is over and over again, people say, "That's the best job I ever had. That was the most fun. It was just terrific." And my recollection is when we were actually there, it was just constantly people bitching and moaning about everything. I'm in a cubicle. I want to have an office. We don't have walls. We don't have doors. The marketing doesn't know what they're doing. How come they're releasing the game this way? How come they're heading this way? There's too much interference in the game design. I want to do this, and I want to work on this project, but I have to work on Aquarius, and I want to do Intellivision, and this person's making... It was just constant complaints about everything. And even the people who weren't complaining that much, there were still, there's people say, "Oh, I never complained," but still they were all interviewing. I mean, there were headhunters everywhere, and all the companies, Atari and Coleco and Sega, everybody was looking for programmers. So even the people who were happy were out flying all over the country interviewing with other companies. So it's funny now to hear people talk about how great it was when everybody had 1 foot out the door and was going. But at the same time, it's not really a contradiction, because I think that really looking back at it, it was the best time for a lot of people, and I think that that's because simply, even with all the complaining and everything, there was just such a passion about what we were doing. I mean, it was just, video games, but everybody was really just so, it was their life at that time. It was just really caught up in it, and really, like I say, the passion for every day of working at Mattel and working with the people that we had there. It was just, it was tremendous. So it was like, say, a lot of hard work and a lot of complaining and a lot of nonstop agony, but it really was a time when you just really felt alive, and that you really knew what you were doing every day.
Oh yeah.
And then your job was to post it on the bulletin board.
Oh yeah. Well, I was working for the college. I was working for Pomona College at the time in their computer center, and we got a notification from Career Planning Office that Mattel was looking for programmers. Don Daglow, who had also gone to Pomona College, notified the college. So the Career Planning Office sent me a memo saying, "Oh, would you please post this for students?" And I looked at it and said, "Post it for students? Forget it. I'm going to go apply for this thing." Oh yeah. One thing particularly about the games written at that time was that the cartridges were so small that there were no assets to connect to the game. A programmer would just, there's so few graphics, you get it all hooked up, and the only thing really left to work on is the gameplay. So out of the 3 months, maybe the 3 to 6 months that had been in development, a great deal of that time was just sitting down, playing a game, and going, was that fun? Could that have been better? And just working on the gameplay algorithms. And nowadays, it's so much of it is just connecting everything to the game engine. It's one thing that I always recognize with these algorithm-style games, that it has a lot to do with there just weren't that many things you could hook up to it, so it just had to be good programming. Actually, I guess the working on the Intellivision or the INTV product line was a lot more focused because it was just 2 or 3 people on each game max, and we weren't in a floor of 60 people trying to make a game. It was just me over at Steve's house or somebody over at my place, and So I think that was it was probably a lot more concentrated effort on each game, less of the kind of team effort and just more focused. But then we were trying to do like 4 games a year per person, which was just a lot more grueling schedule too. Oh yeah, there were a lot of complainers. People would, I remember one offsite we had about, oh, the tools couldn't do this, the tools couldn't do that, and I'm just going, come on, just write the game, just write the dang game already. I do also remember, like when I was in the 4th grade, my family was on a vacation, driving through Los Angeles for the first time. I'm staring out the back seat of a station wagon, and we drove down the 405, and there's this big Mattel sign, and at that point in time, it dawned on me, you mean people get paid to make toys? And I was just thinking, just looking at that very same Mattel building that we never worked in, but just recognizing that people's jobs were to sit there and get paid to have fun and make things for other people to play with. And I, what was it, 10 or 12 years later, I actually got a job at the same building next door.